Back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name is Gabby.
I'm Charlotte.
And just like us, these vehicles are sisters, not twins.
Sure.
Right behind me, I have the brand new Hyundai Kona in the N-Line trim level. And Charlotte, right behind you?
I have the 2025 Kia Seltos in the SX trim level. Now, both of these vehicles are going to share a lot of similarities, but they're also going to share a lot of differences. However, one of the biggest similarities that they do share is going to be their price point. So with the Kona, we have an MSRP of $35,949, and then the Kia Seltos for only about $1,000 more. It's priced at $36,999. There we go.
Also similar is their positioning in each individual lineup. So the Hyundai Kona that we have here today, the N-Line, is one below the very top trim level, versus the Kia Seltos, which is exactly the same. The SX model is one just below the very top trim level X-Line. So it's a pretty good comparison today's video. We are doing this live as well, so if you are watching this in real time, please leave a comment if you have any questions that we didn't touch on throughout the walkthrough, because we will check your comments, answer your questions before we end off today's video.
And if you're watching this in the future after it's already been posted and trying to determine which vehicle is right for you and still have questions, leave them as a posted comment down below. And as you're scrolling down to the comments, make sure you like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it's free.
In the meantime,
let's go.
Let's do it. We'll start off with the Seltos today just because we filmed the Kona yesterday and we do work at Kia. So for the Kia Seltos we have here today, we have our steel gray paint color. It is a metallic paint. It is absolutely lovely. The front end of these vehicles are where things look very different. We have a much more traditional approach in styling to the Kia Seltos, and that's not just for the front end, it's the entire body. If you're comparing these vehicles side to side like we are here today, you'll find that the Kia Seltos has more of an upright and SUV-like approach, so less of a crossover and more of what you'd expect on a traditional SUV. Our headlamps will be full LEDs, and we also have a daytime running light that expands into the grille itself. The grille is finished in gloss black, and the surrounds will all have a nice satin chrome finish. Along the bottom, you'll notice we do have LED fog lamps, so that is something that starts on the EX Premium trim level. Actually, I'm not completely sure if it's the EX Premium or the SX. I'll verify that, but we do get it on the Seltos versus it's not an option on the Hyundai Kona. So that's a must-have for you. You'll get it on the Seltos. Another thing I want to point out will have to do to the powertrains. So technically we have the same turbocharged engine in both of these cars. However, there is a little bit of a spec difference. I'm only going to pop the hood on the Seltos just to keep things a bit more simple. Let's do it. So on the Seltos you will get a strut bar, not a strut bar, but a prop bar, and then we'll have our 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This is a gasoline direct injection, and on the Kia Seltos it produces 195 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque. So perfect match. On the Hyundai Kona, however, we only get 190 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque. Now, are you going to notice that missing 5 horsepower?
Yes.
Probably not, but just something to note between the two vehicles. For fuel efficiency, the Seltos is slightly more consumptuous. That is a real word that I just made up. Sitting at 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers. That is, of course, the rated fuel efficiency, though, so depending on how you drive, if you have a very light foot or a heavy foot, you could actually see that number do far better or a little bit worse. I won't say far worse. It's really hard to do that. On the Hyundai Kona, it's rated at 9 though, so very small difference between the two. Transmission-wise, both vehicles will have an 8-speed regular automatic transmission, so smooth shifting, regular automatic, no more dual clutches for these vehicles, which is a nice upgrade. Much better if you are sitting in stop-and-go traffic quite often with these cars. On the topic of stop-and-go traffic, or more specifically on the highway, you will get integrated navigation on the Kia Seltos, where you'll only get that on the very top trim level of the Hyundai Kona. That also means that instead of regular smart cruise control like we get on the Kona, we'll get highway drive assist on the Seltos. I'll quickly point out the front radar plate on this vehicle. So right in the very smack dab center, here's the location of our radar plate. That'll work for your smart cruise control as well as your advanced highway driving assist. Again, exclusive to this Kia Seltos. You will not get it on the N-Line Kona unless you opt for the ultimate trim level. All right. Next, we'll take a look at the wheels and the differences between the two. So I'll walk over to the very center. We could do a quick side-by-side. Then we'll talk about the exterior of the Kona as soon as we're done with the Seltos. So we have an 18-inch alloy on the Seltos. It's a machined finished alloy with gloss black and then your machined finished elements as well. So again, main difference, we get the gloss black. For the Hyundai Kona, it's a 19-inch alloy, so it has been upgraded in size. And instead of gloss black, we'll have a nice dark gray or gunmetal finish with those same machine finished elements. Both vehicles will have a Kumo tire, and they both have all-season tires. It's important to note that both these vehicles will also have all-wheel drive with a very similar system. So Kia and Hyundai both use their front-biased all-wheel drive system. That means that if it's a regular dry day and you're driving on typical dry pavement, the vehicle will primarily be in front-wheel drive for fuel efficiency savings. However, if it detects a little bit of slippage, it will adjust. Now on the Kia Seltos, you do have a button to lock your differential, so to put it in a full 50-50 torque split on demand. However, on the Hyundai Kona, we do not have that button, but we do have 3 separate traction modes. So between snow, mud, and sand, you can manually put your vehicle into those modes to help you in those climate conditions, or I guess driving conditions. Both of these cars will also have drive modes, so between sport mode, normal mode, you'll have the option to select between the two. All right, more talking about the side profile of the Seltos before we move over to the Kona, and we are a little tight on space. You can definitely see the taller body lines of this vehicle in that very much SUV-like approach. You do have a bit more of an upright seated position in this car too, so if that is a preference of yours, the Kona might be your car. Sorry, the Seltos might be your car. On that note, there is a couple more advantages of the Kia Seltos, and I'm excited to talk about it. And by no means am I giving any shade to the Kona. The Kona has its upsides as well too. But when it comes to convenience, just creature comforts, you will get a power liftgate on the Seltos, and it doesn't even start on this trim level. It actually starts on one below. So you can save even more money and get the features you want with the Seltos. So power liftgate that is height adjustable. You do get the advantage of having a real compact spare tire with the vehicle. And in terms of cargo space, we actually have more on the Seltos. So we get about 752 liters of cargo space that is behind the rear seats, of course, and you can even drop this floorboard down to sit flush on top of your spare tire and give you a couple extra inches of usable cargo room. Now, neither of these cars are rated to tow. You do, however, get usable roof rails on the Kia Seltos, and we will get them on the Kona as well too. I'll show that in a bit. Your badging is quite simple on the Seltos. So we have our 4X badge to indicate that it is all-wheel drive, and then our Seltos badge on the left-hand side. Some more styling elements will include our gloss black rear bumper, a little bit more of those satin chrome elements surrounding your skid plate, and that's pretty much it. There isn't any crazy badging on the Seltos. It is very much more of a traditional approach in the styling department. Now let's change things with the Hyundai Kona. The Kona is definitely going to have a bit more of a modern yet futuristic design cue. So we'll start on the front end and talk about the RoboCop lights. That's what most people like to see on this vehicle. And then we'll work our way towards the wheels and then to the rear end again. So specifically starting on the N-Line models and going all the way up to the N-Line Ultimate, we have a full LED light bar for your daytime running light. Your main headlamp unit is positioned a little bit lower on the front end and towards the side too. However, it doesn't really impact your visibility. It is still at a perfect height for your driving conditions. Nice bright white LEDs, and we do have some dedicated N-Line badging towards the passenger side. So we can already see that this vehicle definitely puts more of an emphasis on the sporty styling and less on the traditional comfort of an SUV. You get a lot of gloss black elements on the front end, which is extremely hard to tell in today's video because we're also filming it on a black car. Now, regardless of the paint color that you choose, if you opt for white or whatever, it will have those gloss black pieces that poke out and look quite nice. I'll also point out our radar plate here just because we do have one. However, like I mentioned earlier, this is just for your smart cruise control. We do not get highway drive assist on the N-Line version. We'll take another quick look at the wheels just to guess a little bit more in depth. And again, they are 19-inch alloys with a nice end center cap. Again, separating this vehicle in its sporty segment. You also get an N-Line fender flare. There's another emblem over here. Turn signal indicators in your mirror, just like the Seltos. And both vehicles will have digital key to touch entry, meaning you can unlock, start, and drive your vehicle simply by using the key fob, or you can just use the proximity access. simply by using your phone, or you can just use your key for regular proximity entry. There's your roof rails that I was mentioning earlier. And then as we work our way toward the rear, we can take a look at our taillight design. So just like what we've seen on the front end of this vehicle, we have a full light bar for your nice bright tail lamp. We've got our reverse lights and marker lights towards the side. And then our Kona badging nicely stamped into the hatch. You can definitely tell in this part of the vehicle that it has more of a hatchback crossover-esque body and less of that SUV. Let's open it up. We have a regular hydraulic lift, so no power lift gate on the N-Line model. It is an option on the top trim level N-Line Ultimate. Here's a big change. We do have a tire mobility kit instead of a compact spare tire. However, if that is a must-have for you and you've really fallen in love with the Kona, there is room to put a compact spare underneath. So you can see there, lifting the floorboard, there is sufficient space for one. In terms of cargo space, we have a lot still, but it is slightly smaller than the Kia Seltos. We have about 723 liters of cargo space in the Hyundai Kona. Fuel tank sizes are the same between these two vehicles. It's a 50-liter tank for both, with regular unleaded fuel being just fine. And on the topic of fuel efficiency, one more time, it is a very, very small difference between the two. It really comes down to how you drive as an individual driver. All right, we're gonna take a look inside now. So Charlotte's gonna take over. Don't know what car she's gonna pick first. But
Kona.
Kona, okay, there we go.
A little bit, because we're already here. All right, I'm just gonna close this up, guys. And hopefully from the exterior of these vehicles, you can already tell that they're sisters, not twins. They definitely have some key differences between them, with the Kona in this specific trim leaning a lot more sporty. So I'll have Gabby give a quick pan of the cabin, and then we're gonna take a look at some of the exclusive accents, some of the ones that they share, and then we'll see how they differ from the Kia Seltos. So right off the bat, you can notice that it's a lot darker. We have a nice dark cloth headliner. We have fully blacked out when it comes to our doors, and even our chrome on the interior. It's black painted, so definitely a darker look. For some more fun N-Line exclusive accents, we have some checkered detailing on our door sills, and we have some aluminum style sport pedals, which look really good. Other than that, you'll notice a lot of red accents throughout the cabin, stretching across the dash in our stitching. And then as Gabby comes around in a couple minutes, I'll show on the seats too. But other than that, from here, I'll just show you a little bit more couple different design elements. We do have an electronic parking brake in this vehicle, and then our steering wheel as well. I'll focus in on that before Gabby comes around. So leather wrapped and heated, both vehicles are gonna have that. However, we have perforated leather here, again for a sportier touch, that red piping and more end badging down at the bottom. And then from here, you're able to configure that smart cruise control, but also adjust it as Gabby spoke about. And then both are gonna have their media controls. All right, you wanna come around?
Gotta say, you're wearing the perfect outfit for this car.
It matches, right?
The red is spot on. Now, I did speak a little bit about highway drive assist, how the Seltos has it, how it is available on the Kona, just not on this trim level. But let's talk about what both cars do have. They'll both have a fantastic forward collision avoidance system, as well as a lane keep and lane follow assist system. They'll also both have blind spot detection and collision avoidance, as well as rear cross traffic collision avoidance. So both of them are very, very good safety picks. Now, let's hop inside.
So this is going to be a good time to go and take a look at the seats. They are, of course, going to be exclusive to our N-Line. So they are going to be a mix of a leather and suede with, again, some red detailing, and we have some N badging on them. And these seats are actually going to be matching. They are both 6-way manual adjustable seats. So you can bring them forward, adjust the height, and adjust the backrest, but keep in mind they are going to be manual. In terms of speakers, this is also going to have a 6-speaker system, just regular in-house speakers. If you do want a premium sound system, you actually have to go up to the top trim for that, which is going to add on the ultimate package. But as you take a look at the dash, there's going to be some big differences here. Can you tell what they are? It's the screens. So we have dual 12.3-inch screens in this vehicle, as opposed to the 10.25 we'll see in the Seltos. And we also have entirely new software. Something that the N-Line package is also going to bring is this different gauge. So from here you can see things like oil temperature, torque, and then also your PSI. And then from here, relatively similar viewpoints, but the graphics are going to look a little bit different because, again, it is going to be entirely different software, but fully digitized, which I really like. For your multimedia screen, again, 12.3 inches, which is fantastic, and it does have the capacity for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which again, a lot of people are going to like that. I certainly do. No navigation, and you'll see that again, this is going to be laid out pretty similar to what we see in the Seltos, and the fact that both of them play off a lot of symmetry and have real buttons and dials showing exclusively what those features are going to do. So both vehicles are going to be incredibly, incredibly easy to use. Shift-by-wire gear shift is another one of the big differences. We'll have a regular gear shift in our Seltos. Both are still going to have things like a wireless phone charger and options for charging and connectivity. And then here's the difference between your drive and terrain modes. So you have drive modes and terrain modes, so snow, mud, and sand in the Kona. And then 2 drive modes, normal and sport, and there's your terrain modes again. Only heated seats for the Kona, as opposed to the heated and ventilated, but we do have 2 levels of heat for our steering wheel. And other than that, yeah, nothing too crazy in terms of hidden storage space. This is really the only hidden storage space we'll get. And both vehicles are going to have a sunroof. Now, interior space is nearly identical. In both vehicles, you have 38 inches of headroom in the front. You're going to have 38 inches of headroom in the rear and 38 inches of legroom in the rear. Where it's going to be different slightly, so slightly, is going to be in the legroom in the front department. So the Kona is going to have 41.6 inches of legroom. The Seltos is going to have 41.3 inches of legroom.
What?
I know. It all counts. I'll show you guys a quick look at the back seat just to see some of the detailing there.
I find it so funny that even though these vehicles are nearly identical in interior dimensions, they still feel so different.
They're so different.
So you really got to drive them both and see which one you like.
Definitely. So back here, again, love the fact that we still have the suede. Big fan of that. You can see the contrast red stitching too. We have vents and USB-Cs, and to drop down armrest as well. Let's go take a look at the Kia Seltos.
Let's do a quick look at the back end of both cars while Charlotte walks over. So nice light bar on the Kia Seltos, a lot of light accents, a little bit of gloss black. And the Kona is going to have some more sporty accents with the more pronounced exhaust, a little bit more detailing going on with the fins on the diffuser. And then a bit of a more modern light bar. So definitely more sporty in its approach versus traditional. But like all things traditional, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, agreed. So definitely, like, I agree with what Gabby was saying, definitely more traditional. The Seltos on the interior for this trim definitely leans a lot more luxe, in my opinion. You have a lot more comfort features than you do in the Kona. So from here, you can already tell that we have integrated memory seats, which also means we have a powered driver's seat. So from here, bring it forwards, backwards, up, down, backrest, and lumbar support. The nice thing too is we have a powered passenger seat as well. So both manual in the Kona, both powered in the Seltos with memory seats, which I love. Speakers, you have a Bose premium sound system, which also means we have 8 speakers in this vehicle as opposed to 6. And you also have sound mood lamp in the Seltos, which is really fun. It's basically ambient lighting that you're able to go and sync with your media that's playing. And again, just super fun. And we'll take a look at that in a couple seconds too. You'll notice right off of the bat, we have some chrome detailing as well. The inclusion of heads-up display is going to be big for the SX on the Seltos. So from there, it will be projected onto this smaller screen and show things like your speed and other relevant driving information. And you have your tailgate release or control as well. Steering wheel, a little bit of a sporty style, still perforated, but with some black stitching. And then your controls are going to be switched around with media controls. And then, of course, from here, you can enable highway drive assist instead of just regular smart cruise control. No paddle shifters, though, which the Kona does have. All right, you want to come around?
Yes. Alrighty, you guys. So far, which one are you liking more? The luxe of the Seltos or the sporty styling of the Kona? Let us know in the comments.
All right. Oh, Gabby just got hit by that. No suede in these seats, but you will see that they are powered. So again, very comfortable, not compromising when it comes to any of those comfort features that we know and love. And then as you get in, you can see the differences in the screens and software. So 10.25 inches for your instrument cluster. Again, fully digitized, but definitely a different look. And then for your multimedia screen, the same thing, fully digitized with included navigation, but completely different look. With this software on the bigger screen, you also do not have the capacity for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is connection by cable only. And let's see your sound mood lamp. I'll turn that off. That way, hopefully you guys can see the little bit of ambient lighting that we do have in this vehicle.
Close my door.
There we go. See a little touch of it on the dash and then also on the speakers. So very nice to see. As we move down towards our climate control and media, again, super symmetrical, real buttons, real dials, everything does exactly as it says. You've got your wireless phone charger, but you do have the inclusion of a USB instead of just 2 USB-Cs and the 12 volt. Your drive mode select is located right here as well for normal, sport, and smart mode, so 1 additional drive mode. Heated and ventilated seats for those in the front. Oh, sorry, do you want to say that again? There you go. Your heated steering wheel. And then also you're going to have your center locking differential, as Gabby mentioned, on the exterior. Still electronic parking brake. Your cup holders are going to be slightly different as well, and you have a little bit more hidden storage space. Well, actually a lot more when you compare it against the Kona. Up top, still have a sunroof, still have the same great legroom and headroom. Not legroom, just headroom, because it's 38 inches. There you go. But I will say it is easier to probably get into the Seltos because it does have that slightly higher ride profile. All right, let's take a look at the second row. Back here, again, no suede, but we still have great amenities. So not only are we going to have heated seats for our seats located on the door, I like that we still have speakers back here, and then mimicking what we see for the Kona, we still have vents and USB-Cs for charging and some good ventilation. You do have a drop-down armrest as well. And then both seats have the capacity for rear tethers for car seats, lower latch anchors, and for safety, they both have 6 different airbags. The IIHS rates the Kona as a top safety pick plus, and the Seltos is unrated. So there you go.
Tim just walked by.
Hi, Tim.
He was on a mission though. All right, Charlotte and I will take some time to answer some questions and see what you guys have to ask about the Kona versus the Seltos. Grant's gonna take a second to say hello.
Grant Johnson, everybody.
Thank you for coming out today, folks.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you for having me. E2571. Okay.
The man's in action.
Oh.
You're known as the Chevette guy, by the way.
Yeah,
1.6 liter carbureted points and condenser back in '84.
Did you have
Manual transmission?
holes in the floorboards?
Not yet, but you had to drop gears to get up a hill with full compression.
Nice.
Thanks for everything that you do, Grant. All right, you guys, let's see what questions you may ask, and maybe we'll do a quick recap.
Yeah.
So what does the Seltos do really well?
Seltos does luxe, tech, and comfort really, really well with features like highway drive assist, power driver and passenger seat, heated ventilated seats in the front, heated seats in the rear. Did I say memory seats already?
No, but yep.
But there it is.
I will also say there's some fun touches, like the sound mood lamp. That's pretty cool.
The
Maybe it's
speaker
not a
detail.
must-have, but it's nice to have, right?
Premium sound system.
You do also get the option for a brown leather interior, so if you do prefer that, it is totally an option on the SX model. I will also say there's a little bit more luxe in the trim variation for the Seltos. So we showed the SX model today, but if what you really care about is the heated and ventilated seats, the leatherette seats, the power seats, that starts in the EX Premium model, which will not only save you a little bit on fuel because it's not turbocharged, it'll also save you in the MSRP. It has a lesser price point. Now, for the Hyundai Kona, I think it does styling exceptionally well. It does have an emphasis on sportiness. You can tell that from the interior all the way to the exterior too, with your N-line badging, but also the red accents on your seats, the red stitching, your paddle shifters. There's a lot of fun sporty elements. I do think it also appeals to a lot of the younger crowd, or I guess the fun sporty crowd, with the software. So you do get over-the-air software updates as well as wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which I know a lot of you guys have been asking about. Both cars certainly have their strengths. None of them really have weaknesses though. I think it's just really what matters to you on a vehicle. So the answer for today's video, which one's the better buy?
Well, it's going to come down to what you value and what you prefer.
Yep. Any questions you've seen, Shar?
I'm taking a look at questions.
Oh, we just got asked about the pricing.
It's not working for me. So the MSRP of both vehicles, so not the Kia Seltos, I'll start with the Kona, is $35,949, sorry about that, and then $36,995 for the Kia Seltos. So Seltos is about $1,000 more expensive. However, if you really value this powertrain and all of the tech and safety features, the Seltos may actually be a good buy, because if not, if you want the safety or the tech and safety features that are on the Seltos, it could be another $3,000 to add on the ultimate package for the Kona.
Absolutely.
So if you're not, if styling you go either way, you kind of could get both for a little bit less money too.
I will also say for people that fight about the wireless CarPlay thing, wired CarPlay is really nice, you guys. It is my preference even still, simply because if I decide I do not want to use CarPlay for my drive today, or I want to let a friend of mine connect their phone instead, all I got to do is unplug my device and let it in. There's no unpairing phones, there's no cycling through screens. It is just nice, simple, and easy. And as long as you've got a good cord, so not a cheap like dollar store cord, you should have no problems with connection.
Yeah, something that cord that's capable of data transfer, basically.
And might I add, your phone will charge faster when plugged in than it will on the wireless charger, and it's less likely to overheat. I'm just saying. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Unless there's any other questions you want to get to.
Just taking a look. Pricing we did. Someone was asking about stroller tests. Both of them fit a stroller. Very nice. What does the Sorento compare to what other vehicle in that lineup, like the size of the Explorer? I don't know if I completely understand what you're asking.
Sorry.
Do you want to take a look at it?
What does the Sorento compare to other vehicles in that lineup? Like, is the size of the Explorer? Yeah, so the Explorer would be a good competitor. You could also be looking at things like, I don't know Toyota's lineup that well. I don't want to say the Highlander. What's bigger than the RAV4? The Highlander? Yeah,
I think,
it might be the
that's
Highlander.
the next one up.
Santa Fe, of
on
course.
the Hyundai side of things. If you are looking for a comparison between the Sorento and the Hyundai Santa Fe, we have, of course, done that. It's all linked on our channel and everything like that. And then if you guys are curious about either of these two vehicles, we have done full in-depth walkthroughs on both of them, linked down below, as well as our playlist for both vehicles.
Volkswagen Atlas, Mazda CX-9.
There you go.
All right, goodbye, you guys.